Okay, hello. I've got Wayne Turnbull with me. Wayne, you are an ex DSV, which is a drill site supervisor that is now driving trucks. You're up in Ohio. Welcome to the podcast.
Good to be here. Thanks, Chris.
Wayne, tell us a little bit about your history in the oil field. During these times, everybody's scared and everything's kind of freaking everybody out with these downturns. And some people haven't been through them. Some people have. Tell us a little bit about your story and how unique it is.
I've been in the field for around 25 years. I've seen the ups and downs through it all. I grew up in a construction family, so I guess maybe that helps with it a little bit because you have ups and downs in construction. I think the thing that's helped me the most through the years is I had a CDL when I was 18, and I've always had that. So that's always my fallback. It's probably the easiest job to come by is a truck to be a truck driver. They always need truck drivers out there. Doesn't mean it's not easy, especially once I got to being a DSV. I was first brought into being a drill site supervisor when I was 30, and that was in 2006.
So you were in the field when the downturn hit in 2014. You were in the field as a company man, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That was the hardest one for me, really. 2009, I was in Colorado, and we got shut down. I was out of off a rig. I was a drill site supervisor then, too. And I was off a rig for a year and driving trucks, delivering food. And that one, it was rough. But in 2015, my son was diagnosed with cancer that year. And at the same time, when I called my drilling manager, I found out that they were stacking my rig.
Oh, man.
So it hit us really, really hard in 2015. And I have to say that it really made it easier. Not to say anything's a good thing, but it was easier to deal with the fact that I didn't have that job because I was more worried about my son.
Right. Yeah, it kind of puts it into focus, huh?
Yeah, it really did. All I could think about all the way home, I was in West Texas when that happened. I was in Big Lake, and that's the longest 5-hour, 6-hour drive I've ever had.
Man, I bet.
Trying to get there. He wasn't supposed to make it. God willing, he did. He's doing great now. He's cancer-free. I really didn't try to get back on a rig until he got through most of it. I didn't tell anybody anything about, go out and hunt work. I stayed close to the house. I tried to build a business. That's a lot. I made a lot of mistakes in the last several years.
I think we all have. I've made many myself, and we all think that we've got this timing down to where we like, oh, it's a downturn, it's probably the best time to do this, and we always hindsight's 2020, and when you look back, you go, man, like I made tons of mistakes. And how soon when you got word that your son had cancer and they were stacking your rig, how quick did you go back to work? Like, I think there's people in the same situation that you're in right now that are wondering, like, how fast should I wait? Or did you wait?
Oh, you better go get to work. Go find something and work. It's not worth waiting for. You'll put yourself in a bind. They kept me working for a couple of more months, and I tried to start my business during that time. I made the mistake in 2009 of waiting a couple of months and got us in a bind on our bills because I thought I'd get another rig job.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't happen. I have a hard time trying to find work a lot of the times because that once they start looking at my resume and see that I've been a DSB, what they say is true. A lot of people won't hire us.
Yeah.
They know what kind of money we make as a DSB, and it makes it very difficult to get people to look at you. I know I'm well qualified to manage just about any business. I've, most DSBs work from anywhere from 30 to 70 people, plus all the other vendors that they watch over every day.
Right.
And they're multi-million-dollar projects.
Right.
So that makes us qualified to operate a lot of businesses. But once they see that, if anyone knows, and I'm talking any kind of jobs, I've tried to get jobs working in warehouses and came close to jobs, started doing their interview processes, got through the second, third interview, and then all of a sudden I'll hear someone say, so-and-so knows what a drilling supervisor is. Oh, they know someone that does that. And then sure enough, I'll get a call saying, yeah,
don't hire that guy.
We went, we're going another direction, or you're overqualified.
Yeah,
you wouldn't want to do that.
Because they know how cyclical the industry is, right? So I mean, people aren't stupid. They know that the industry's going to come back, and then you're going to run as soon as you get $1,000 a day. You're going to be gone. And but a lot of people don't understand is $1,000 a day, and these higher day rates they require a lot of stress. Like you said, you're managing 30, 40 people, multi-million-dollar project. There's a lot going on, a lot of mistakes. A small mistake can end up costing a company a lot of money. Plus it could, worst case, it could cost somebody's life. So, I mean, I hand it to those company men out there. They're making huge decisions at a moment's notice. And, they're the front line, on the well site. A lot of them being laid off right now.
There's a lot of lives on their hands.
Yeah.
Not every day is a hard day for a company man. I get it.
Yeah.
You look at us and we're sitting in our shacks a lot, and there are guys that sit in their shacks way too much. There are guys that, I agree. There are guys that shouldn't be doing their jobs. It's been hard for me to watch because I've seen guys that are out there that I don't agree with them being in the position they're in. There's a lot on your shoulders.
Yeah.
I don't have gray hair for nothing. My gray hair is there for a reason, because you got to worry about so many people, and you got to worry about the company's money. People waste money like crazy out there, and it shouldn't be that way.
Yeah. Well,
I think that's a big problem with what's been going on now is people have been just the companies they've wasted too much money for too many years.
Yeah,
like it's going out of town.
Waste is a huge issue for every company out there, and I mean, some are better at managing the waste than others, but gosh, I've seen tons of waste out there, and not just from a company standpoint, like a producer standpoint, but from an oil field services standpoint too. There's a lot of waste that goes on, a lot of leakage and stuff like that. Well, so you're right in Ohio right now, correct?
Yes, sir. I'm on the Pennsylvania border. We're moving some rig equipment up there for another drilling company. So you've probably been busy the last month, right? Oh yeah, very busy. I'm working at least 100 hours a week every week.
Just stacking rigs, moving rig parts.
That's been the majority of it. It's very scary to me to watch all the rigs stack.
Yeah, I saw a picture you posted. I follow you on Facebook. I call you for those people that don't know Wayne, I call him the meme king. It's pretty, I love his memes. Your memes are like, you're the king of these memes, and I get them and I just laugh every time I see one. But I see your post and you take these awesome pictures, and I saw you taking a picture of stacking, like pulling into a rig yard where they were dry stacking these rigs, man. I mean, like, people don't understand. There's a feeling that goes kind of, the hairs on the back of your neck stand up when you're an oil field person and you see stuff like this. Like those are people's lives that are just getting torn apart. And man, it's really tough. And I applaud you because, I've been talking with you and visiting with you every once in a while. And you just keep driving. Like you just like, and I mean, driving literally now, but you just keep driving forward no matter what life throws at you. You just keep driving forward. So, like, tell people like what motivates you to keep doing this and keep moving on and keep working.
I have to say a lot comes from how I was raised. I was raised around men that they work no matter what, sick, whatever. Even my grandfather, and that's the man that I spent most of my time with growing up, he worked through cancer that most people didn't know he was on chemo through, and he just kept going out and working. I was just raised that way, so you have to go out and do it. But I've had my moments while my son was sick. I got to a point where I kind of laid down, and it's embarrassing to me.
Yeah.
And that drives me harder. I've got a family to take care of.
Yeah.
You can't stop. They depend on me. So I just have to keep going out there and trying to find something. I've had a few people say, and just like the trucking, I've had people that I work for. They're like, "Well, you hop jobs so much." I moved to where I'm going to get paid.
Yeah,
it's very important. I've got kids. I can't sit there and wait around. If a company starts going down, I have to move because I know I have people that depend on me. So I have to keep working as hard as I can.
Yeah.
And sometimes I have to make moves for that.
I think, I think it's an interesting point is that, in the last decade, I would say maybe even a little bit longer than a decade. I mean, pretty much everybody jumps around. I mean, I don't know. I mean, opinions can vary on this, but, I've hired a lot of people and I've stopped looking at how often they move as a key factor in whether or not, like, it's just not as, I guess there's not really, I'm kind of not being as negative about looking at that as a negative thing, if that makes sense.
The right company would keep me.
Yeah.
I have stuck with a lot of companies that as a drilling supervisor, that's one thing that I've been criticized on is I'll have money thrown at me trying to get me to leave, and I won't leave because I've got to a point, and at the very lowest rates I get as a drilling supervisor, I can provide for my family, and I don't have to worry about it.
Right.
The problems I run with the other companies, I've had companies I've stuck with, especially in the trucking industry, that have almost ended me up homeless.
Yeah.
Or my family up homeless. I had to, and that was a hard pill to swallow. I had to take help last year to get our rent paid.
Yeah.
And that made me, that's one of those things I realized I can't just stick with a company that's not getting it done. If it was steady, like where I'm at now, we're steady. We work hard. I'm not looking to go anywhere. So, I mean, if it comes down to it, that's what I will do. But I'll stick with them as long as they're going to work me hard. I work a ton. It's 100 hours plus a week. But you know what? My bills are paid.
Yeah. Well,
I don't have to worry about my family at home.
Yeah, that's the most important part. I mean, as fathers, there's a lot of weight, and my heart goes out to all these dads out there that are oil field guys that, it's just crumbling all around them. The stress and the not knowing what to do. It's a big factor for a lot of men, and it gets them into depression, and they can start having really negative thoughts. And like you said, you get kind of to where you want to lay down. And I've been there. Like, I mean, a lot of people don't know my story, but I walked off of a job when times were bad, but I just got tired of basically firing people, and I just walked off and said, I'm going to start my own thing. Well, that was a mistake, and I've made tons of mistakes since then. But here it is. We need to get there's people listening right now that are going to want to know, like, what do I do next? Like, what do I do? I see constantly, I see people posting saying, how do I get a job as a DSV when you're a DSV? Well, you might be like Wayne, you might need to go drive a truck. I mean, that might be what you need to do. So, I mean, these are real problems that, guys need to talk about. And I, that's why I like having you on and talking with you about this.
Well, they have to look at it. I mean, I've got almost 15 years as a DSV. I'm up there. I'm not as old, but I'm up there with a lot of the older guys with the amount of experience I have. And yet still for the last 5 years, I've worked 7 months on a rig. The rest of the time was I had my little company while my son was sick that just floundered. That was a huge mistake, but my mind wasn't in the right spot, and it was just too much pressure. And when I started going after rig, there hasn't been that much work. People don't realize, like I've had, it's booming. It hasn't really boomed in a long time. The most rigs we got up to was just, I think, right under 1,300 this last time.
Yeah.
And ever since 2015, and before pre-2014, there were 2,700 rigs in the U.S.
Yeah.
That's a lot of rigs gone. So that's a lot of people out of work.
Yeah, I remember I had a conversation in 2018 with a guy in the oil field services sector, and he said, and we were talking about strategy, and I said to him, I said, "What's your strategy? Like, what are you looking for as a strategy for sales and for pulling growth levers and increasing profits?" And he said, well, we're waiting for the next boom, and when that boom hits, we're gonna raise our rates and do this. And I was like, you already saw the boom, like it happened, and so it happened. Like they were at 12, it was about 1,250 rigs at that time, and he just, I told him, I said, man, you're not going to see any boom anymore. That was the boom. From 800 rigs to 1,250 was a boom. And so, and you got guys that just don't understand that, and it's good to hear another perspective on that from your end.
Yeah, you just have to keep going. I mean, you can't sit there and cry about it. It sucks. It's horrible. I do deal with depression. I understand the worry and not knowing. The worst thing you can do is sit there and wait. You have to go find something, find a place that will hire you. If you've got a CDL, that's great. If you don't, go find something.
Yeah, I saw that like Amazon is looking to hire like 150,000 people or something.
Yep. There's a bunch of places that are hiring that pay decent. I mean, it's not great, but it's going to help. Every little bit helps.
Yeah, it's not oil field money, but I'm starting to think oil field money is not going to be what it used to be, right?
I think it may change this time. I think that it's going to be different when it comes back. A lot of companies are going to get bought up right now. I think our environment's about to change on everything. I think the whole U.S. environment's about to change with everything that's going on. It's a scary time if you really look at it. Anytime without the coronavirus and people don't connect. Anytime we've had a downturn in our economy, it coincides with an oil field, the oil price going down and us losing our jobs, because we support a big section of the tax base.
Yeah.
We spend a lot of money. They sit there and talk a lot of crap on oil field workers, go out and blow all this money and all that, but that is our economy. Them spending money is helping the economy.
Yeah.
So, and you didn't save enough money. You didn't do this. There are some things you just can't prepare for.
Yeah, I think this is one of them.
So I can tell you that after my son got sick, you can't prepare for everything, and you can't prepare for being off for months and months and months, or just taking a huge drastic pay cut. So you have to learn, and you have to learn how to go on and learn how to pray. Can't stress that enough. if God ain't in your corner, if you're not putting him in your corner, things are going to be tough. It's a lot brighter outlook with God in your corner. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, amen to that. I mean, he's pulled me through a lot of stuff. What do you think? What do you think this? What do you think the economy is going to look like coming out of this? Like, I mean, I've asked a lot of people, like, what do you think that you think we're going to come out of this thing booming, or you think it's going to be different?
It's either going to lag really bad, or we're going to have a big boom. It's going to take off because everybody's going to want to go out and spend money. But I'm wondering if the money's going to be there to be spent.
Yeah.
I mean, people don't learn. I'm looking at right now, people are getting these stimulus checks. I've seen it out here on the road. We went to get something to eat, and all the restaurants were packed. And asked them what was going on. They said people just got their stimulus check.
So they're eating out.
Yeah, they're eating out.
They're probably sick and tired of sitting at home in quarantine. I know it's been tough.
Yeah. So I mean, I get that, and you want to do that, but what about rent? What about your bills that need to be paid? Because a lot of these people aren't working.
Yeah, there's real fear out there. I mean, and there's real things to be concerned about. I mean, I've sit here and I've thought, man, is it going to be the same when they lift this quarantine? Is it going to be the same when I go in to see a customer or go in front of somebody? Like, are they going to act the same? I mean, if you go to the store right now, me and my wife were kind of laughing and joking about this. Is that everybody's looking at everybody like you've got the plague or something, or like, hey, don't talk to me. If you say hello or how are you doing, it's all weird. it's like a weird interaction with people now. And I don't know if it's personal, if everybody feels that way, but it's just something we kind of joked about. And I think there's a real fear out there. I think that there's some change. The thing that I think about a lot is how you said something there. You said people don't learn, and I think that our attention span, it seems like, is gone downhill quite fairly quickly over the last 10 years. And I think social media and everybody's attention, you're seeing shows that are shorter, and people don't want to hang around for things. People probably stopped listening to this 10 minutes ago, but I mean, the thing is that how is that gonna affect people coming out of this? Are they gonna forget what the normal was, and then it's gonna be a new normal? These are things that I think about.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know. I mean, is it gonna make people more dependent on their government? I worry about. I'm a conspiracy theorist myself. I've been trying to figure out everything that's going on because there's so many things that just don't make sense right now with what's going on. But this is really setting a lot of people up to depend on other things more than themselves.
Yeah.
And that's a scary thing to me. If they get used to being home, some people don't recover from that and want to work anymore. So,
yeah, it's a huge point. It's like what you were talking about, being raised. The way you were raised is to go out and grind it out and keep driving on. And I mean, are we raising our kids today to do that? I know I tell my kids, I think one of the best things that ever happened is that I failed several times in my business while my kids were teenagers, and they got to see what we call baloney mode, and not spending money, and us actually talking about how we're gonna, what are we gonna put gas in the car? Are we gonna pay bills with that money? Or are we gonna buy groceries with that? These are things that I don't think a lot of kids see it anymore. And so, go ahead.
They live in a video game world now, and a lot of kids don't see it. My kids, I don't think, understood it till everything happened with us. We lived in a fairy tale world as they were growing up, because that was the prime years of me being a consultant. so they didn't see it. But then seeing the crash of it all, you sit there and listen to them. They want to live as cheaply as possible. So that their lives, like my son, he's like, I want to live off the grid. He's like, I just need this little. I could live in a trailer home, and I'll get it where it's all paid for, it's all cash. It's really changed their perspective on things. Yeah. I think that helps.
Well, that's good. Well, Wayne, man, I appreciate having you on here. I just, man, I keep up with you, keep track of you, and I just, I love talking with you. So I appreciate you being on this podcast, and
no problem.
It's been a pleasure having you.
I've enjoyed it too. Thank you.
Okay, Wayne, thanks, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right, talk to you soon. You have a good one.
Thank you. Bye. You too. Bye.